Support my content by becoming a patron on patreon.com/JaianMusic. Hi guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Anime Podcasters. Today, I am here with my amazing host, Hotshot. How's it going, buddy?
It's going. How are you, my friend? Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. I'm very well. I'm about to swing back into my final semester of university. I'm excited for this new episode of Anime Podcasters, and you know what? I'm in a very good mood. It would take a lot for me to not be in a good mood, but I feel like you're gonna challenge that.
I mean, don't I always?
Yeah, I think you do. I think you do.
Black
Today
Star.
we have today. We have a special podcast, a special topic that Hotshot himself came up with. So I'm gonna give you the floor, Hotshot. Here, we both have an anime. We're both gonna talk about it, but more specifically, what is this podcast topic about, Hotshot?
So what we came up with was, since we went all throughout 2018, whereas I had finally became the host of, or one of the hosts of Anime Podcasters, Jaian, and as such, I've been watching more anime lately. And that just made me think of, over the past year, what is some anime that neither of us have watched until that year, and then what one would be our favorite out of the entire year that we've seen. So that's what we're talking about today. Just our two favorite animes from 2018 that we personally watch. They could be older, they could be newer, it's just ones that are new to us.
Exactly. So, my anime, we're not going to spoil Hotshots yet. We're going to start with mine. And we're just going to be talking about it. And I guess in this conversation, we're not going to get spoilery, of course, because I want Hotshot to watch this. But we're going to be doing a bit of a precursor, what the anime is about, and why this person would enjoy it and not enjoy it. So we're going to get into it. The anime that I watched this year and that I think is honestly right up Hotshot's alley. There's no way you're not gonna enjoy this anime if you give it a chance. I watched Great Teacher Onizuka, which is a anime about this new guy who gets in town, and he becomes a teacher for absolutely the worst class in the entire high school. And these kids, the only mission they have is to kick out this teacher. They're known for, like, every teacher they've had has had a burnout, quit their job. Like, it's never worked out with any teacher. They have this bad reputation, and so it's up to Onizuka and his own weird ways to win them back. So it's a story with a lot of adversity, and a story where Onizuka is always like, for every good thing that Onizuka pulls off, he'll do something completely horrible. He gets himself in these very tight and ridiculous situations. And Hotshot, how you said, like, I've said it multiple times on the podcast, I don't watch lewd animes. I don't watch animes that are very sexualized, right?
Right.
Well, I
mean, you don't. I seem to watch, like, exclusively that kind.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? Going back through my list and, like, of what I watched here, this anime is that, dude. There is a lot of sexualization in this anime. There's a lot of stuff happening with girls, with guys, a lot of sexual themes where it's I think it's right up your alley, bro. I think this one is comedic. It's everything. So please, what are your first impressions on what I've described here?
My first impressions are, yeah, it does seem like something that'd be more my style as opposed to yours. So frankly, I'm surprised that you even clicked on it. But at the same time, I have researched just, like, a little bit of it. And combined with my research and what you have said, it sounds a little bit like Assassination Classroom, just up on the not safe for work aspect. And instead of trying to get their teacher kicked out in Assassination Classroom, they end up trying to kill their teacher.
I think Assassination Classroom is not as comedic and has more action to it. A Great Teacher Onizuka definitely has action, but is less action-packed and has more comedy. Onizuka is, like, if there's one word to describe Onizuka, it's resilient. It makes no sense, the situation he gets himself in, and it's like, okay, at the end of every episode or every few, like, arc, the beginning of every arc, there's these moments where, like, okay, they're like, this is it, like, he's not gonna get out of this one, like, there's no way he's getting out of that, nobody should get out of that, and then next thing you know, you're like, how did that happen? That makes no sense whatsoever. And He just jumps across the board in these crazy moments, and like he essentially is able to fight against like the biggest opponent, which is all these students. And like, let me tell you one thing: I've never seen a more crafty group of students in anime before. These guys are just out of it. Like think of okay, what's a prank a student can pull on a teacher, Hotshot? Like, what's a prank you think is a bad prank to pull on a teacher?
Ketchup packets in the toilet.
That pales in comparison to what Onizuka goes through.
Okay, let me come up with a couple more real quick.
If you can.
Thumbtack on the seat and saran wrap over the toilet bowl.
I mean, those are just things that might happen and like embarrass you, but like those aren't gonna get you kicked out of school.
Fair enough.
Like every attempt this class had, like this class is like, I want to get Onizuka kicked out, and like slowly but surely, like at the beginning he wins one or two over, and it's like, oh okay, he might have it. And it's crazy what he goes through. I mean, go ahead. Any thoughts you want to share here, Hotshot?
I mean, honestly, you're just making me more and more curious. Like, I want to hear some of the pranks or whatever they do in order to get this guy kicked out. Because I mean, I have researched it, so I know a little bit about his background. So I know like what he has gone through and then what he's going through now. Doesn't really seem like all that much could phase him at this point. But at the same time, I am curious to learn more about it.
So through your research, like, what are some things you've noticed about him? Anything, even the slightest detail. I'm curious to see.
In his past, he was already brought up to like crime and corruption, that kind of thing. Especially because like his parents, bad connection with his parents, stuff like that. So he turned to crime for like illegal races, stuff like that. And turns out that he is also a vet, if I'm not mistaken.
A vet?
Yeah, a retired vet.
He might be. I didn't catch that. Maybe it's a manga thing, but I didn't catch that in the anime. Okay, maybe let's say it's just a manga thing.
Okay, so it might just be a manga thing, but he did go to the college and only managed to pass and get his teaching degree only by cheating.
Yes. I feel like you're slowly starting to understand what this character is like.
Well, I mean, going into it, just like a little bit of research and then researching a little bit more. That's what research will do. So stay in school, kids.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like I think you can understand more and more what he's like, what his characteristics are like, or he's no, I wouldn't say cheapskate. He likes to be deviant. And is like he not from the norm. He's not from the norm. This is not your everyday teacher. Onizuka, he's known as the great teacher Onizuka. And he really goes all out in this anime. But yeah, sorry, finish your thoughts.
I mean, combined with that as well as the thing that is sticking with me the most is like with how pervy he is. Like he is very, very sex driven, it seems. But he is also, according to the wiki, still a virgin.
Yes. I did not want to bring that up, but like if you saw it, you saw it. Yeah, he is a virgin, and he is a huge pervert. And I'm just gonna rip this bandage off. His students too, like with his students. Like you see where this is going.
He tries to lay with the students. I know. I can kind of put two and two together here.
I wouldn't say that exactly, but kind of, sort of. You're not off the mark.
I mean, I'm saying that exactly. So yes,
it's a very out there anime, and like I said, I was going through my list. I was like, wait, oh my god, I've watched a Hotshot show. Like that was my reaction.
Welcome to the world of the dead.
Okay,
what has been seen cannot be unseen and taken away.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Chris Forever. May I let you know about the first prank in the series that the classroom pulls on him, and I just want to show you like how really out there it goes. Like this is the first prank, and it only gets worse.
Yeah, go ahead and do the first one at least.
Okay, so. There's this one student in his class who's really good with computers and is really good with Photoshop. And very quickly, there's these photoshopped images of Onizuka and very perverted and the weird, like he's like his face on like like on the principal's body. like these really really weird these really disgustingly weird posters get posted all over school of him. And so he's just there and he's going to school. It's like the second week of school. He's like, oh hey, how is everyone? And everyone's looking at him like, oh my god, get away from me. He's like, what guys, what's going on, what's going on? And then he realizes the posters of that are all over the school. And he's like, what? No, that's not me, that's not actually me. No, what's going on here, what's going on? And he's like freaking out trying to take down all the posters. And there's this like one teacher he has like a crush on, and like throughout the anime tries to win her over, and like she sees this right away. She's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And like, so it's like, oh, starting back from zero, like back to square one with this one. And so and this is like enough to get a teacher kicked out. So that's the first prank. Like they really this is ridiculous.
I mean, if that's the first one, who boy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just kind of, I mean, bad photoshopping to start with is just a slap in the face.
It's ridiculous, and I cannot believe it. It only starts with that. Like, it's I compare it to this. Like, are you a fan of like spicy sauces?
A fan of what?
Spicy sauces, like hot sauce.
No, I am not.
Okay, let's say on a hot sauce scale, right? A hot shot should be a fan of hot sauce, right? Oh no, okay. So this starts maybe. Like you have like not hot sauce, you have like mild sauce and then hot sauce. I don't know if that's the scale, but anyways, this one starts like a little bit above mild. Like this is like mild, but it's like it's still a bit hot, and it only will get, the sauce is only gonna get more and more and more and more burning. Like the stupidity he gets himself in, it's ridiculous, and he manages to just dodge it every single time. And the thing is too, I know you know how I said the class is against him?
Yeah.
There's also staff against him.
Oh come on.
like
So wait, if the staff is against him and the students are against him, how is he still here?
That's the best part.
The principal
like
has a thing for him, doesn't she? Or he?
No, the principal is like the one who's like, I hate you so much. And like he's like, I do not want you in the school. How did you get hired? The principal tries to get him fired so many times.
So then how is he still here if even the principal, staff, and students hate him?
Because he's like, remember one word, resilient.
Fair enough.
When you look at a teacher, like when you look at an anime like this where the character has literally everything against him and really goes through the motions and manages to get through it, falls back, and there's like a lot of controversies and there's a lot of dilemmas, and it goes through a lot. What do you think about that kind of story where Onizuka really has to work his way from the ground up, and sometimes he falls back, sometimes he bounces back? Like, what kind of is that a good story for you? Is that something that you enjoy? Is that something that you think is overdone? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm a really big fan of underdog stories. I mean, you know some of my favorite characters of all time, and they're all pretty much underdogs. Like Natsu, Naruto, let's see here, Black Star. Like, some of these characters are just like complete underdogs in the trials that they go through in order to only get better and overcome trials. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty solid storyline for me.
All right. I really cannot like extend enough how like the stupidity of this anime, and it's stupid but in a smart way, where the pranks that are pulled on Onizuka, you're like, who comes up with these ideas? Who comes up with this type of junk, and who teaches like this? Like, it's so unorthodox. It's as if, to me, it's like you have a regular ninja Naruto fighting, and then you have Drunk Lee, and everyone's like, what the hell? This guy's fighting style is so unorthodox. Like, if all the teachers are the regular ninja, and then Drunk Lee is Onizuka.
So, like, they all want to beat him, but none of them have a chance.
They all want to, like, it's more like they all learn and teach in a certain way, and then Drunk Lee and Onizuka show up, and it's like, no, we do it so differently.
Oh, boy. Well, whenever someone like throws their own personal like customization into like how they run a class or an organization or anything like that, and people are just like, oh, I don't believe in this or anything like that, then I mean, honestly, I'm on the side of like the person they're trying to kick out anyway. Just like you're so close-minded, we need to change that.
Right. I mean, I think like what you just described there is the sentiment that a lot of the staff feels when they see Onizuka in the hallways or when they see Onizuka teach. It's so different and it's not normal. But the students are learning still, and they're still like growing with him. Like as much as they're trying to kick him out, they're also growing with him. Like every week he's still there. Every month he's still there. At the end of the semester he's still there. Like there's a lot of and you've had teachers before. You grow attached to your teachers fairly quickly, especially in a high school setting, because it's like your one teacher, right? Like he's the homeroom teacher.
Different cultures, different teacher styles, my friend.
But do you would you give me a fair point on this one? Where
I'd give you a fair point. I'd give you a fair point. Yes, I just don't have experience from that kind of style to draw from.
No, I understand. Who do you think, in your opinion, who do you think is the biggest hurdle for him? From what I described, is it the students? Is it the teachers? What do you think?
I mean, unlike staff, students he goes back to every single day, so they can be easily or more easily at least won over than the staff. So probably like the staff and the principal trying to get him out of their school would probably be the bigger thing, like the harder thing. I mean,
Because but I feel like the principal needs a reason to kick you out, right? He needs some sort of dirt. But when someone's so resilient, it's kind of hard to get dirt on them. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, plus they can't argue with results. Like if his students are learning, and especially if his students are becoming like the best of the school or anything like that, like top grades, then it's really hard to get anything on him that'll actually like make it worth losing him. Like, yeah, you'll have to deal with like a few nuisances here and there, but with grades like these, you can't really do anything about it. And again,
no, exactly.
that's just another parallel to Assassination Classroom, because once they started getting like the top scores in the school, they were going to shut down Kuro Sensei's class altogether, but then once they got like the top grades or like really close to it, they couldn't shut him down.
Exactly. But I feel like the students have less to lose when they have they try to kick out Onizuka, in the sense that like there are a whole crowd, right? So they can mask themselves within that crowd. You don't know who exactly made those Photoshop images. You can have an idea, but you don't know. But as if when the principal tries to pull an act, it's direct. It's the principal.
So they need just like cover like a cop. They need something to place on you in order to actually get warrant for it.
Exactly too. But like if I guess my point is more like if the principal tries to kick you out, you'll know, because like there's only one principal. But when a student pulls a prank, you don't know exactly who it is, because there's a group of students. There's not like, a group of principals.
You'll know who your enemy is if it's the principal, but if it's like someone else who isn't them, you really don't have any clue. So like just trying to guess like who's trying to kick me out the most kind of thing.
Exactly that. You nailed it. Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Okay, I can see that. But at the same time, like even if he doesn't know exactly who it is, the principal has more power than any of these other guys. Like
True,
the principal needs dirt, but even if they get like one speck of dirt, they can just mold it into whatever shape they see fit and do what they want with it.
And what I just realized now is also that the students and the principal can work together without even knowing it. If like the students pull a prank on the teacher and he gets blamed for it, that's dirt that the students put on Onizuka, and now the principal has the required dirt to get you kicked out.
So they had the means, they just had very poor planning to use these means.
I mean, poor planning or just a very resilient opponent that you can't get rid of.
It can be both.
I mean, because I think like some of these plans are ridiculously well planned out, and I'm just wow, that's just impressive. But then the execution maybe is a little faulty, and then Onizuka is just Onizuka. There's no other way to describe this man. Like Onizuka, there's only one Onizuka in all of anime. And I know this anime even has like a side story where at some point there's like another staff member that gets included into the school, and turns out Onizuka knew this staff like from a previous engagement, and then not like a marriage, but like a previous like they were a part of a gang or something together. And then there's like apparently there's like a 4 episode OVA of Onizuka in this specific, like, so there's little side stories there, which I think is pretty cool. But I guess the other point I wanted to make is I feel like animes that I've watched that have schools, or and especially high school, like everyone knows how high school is very cliquey. I think that culturally high school has always been a cliquey place where like you have groups and pockets of people forming together. Would that be fair to say?
That'd be fair to say. I mean, with some examples of that, you have, I mean, obviously this one, you have something that I'm not all too familiar with, but churches, Negima. You also have Soul Leader with their classes. You have My Hero Academia even, and you have my choice of anime, which if you wouldn't mind us getting into that, because I don't think we can talk about Onizuka much more without getting heavy into spoiler territory.
Well, I want to say 2 more thoughts, but yeah, I mean, you can say what it is, and then we'll get into it.
I'll wait. Go ahead and do your 2 more thoughts.
Okay, because I had 2 more thoughts, and then that was actually how I was going to transition into
Okay,
yours.
sorry. So, you can cut that out.
No, we're keeping it in, man. No worries.
Okay.
So, with school being so cliquey, and with these students having different groups over, I think like one can put 2 and 2 together. Where if, let's say, Onizuka wins over, like, let's say this group of students, the leader of that group of students in the classroom pulls a prank on Onizuka, but Onizuka, it doesn't work, and Onizuka finds out it's you, and Onizuka is like, "Oh, come on, buddy, like, we're actually like quite alike, you and I." If Onizuka wins over the leader of that group of students within the classroom, does he not also win over the entirety of the group? You know, like, if your friend is like, "Oh, he's cool after all," that's like enough validation, especially in high school when you're so influenceable and so easily influenced. Sorry, to get won over by the teacher. Would that be a fair point in your mind?
I mean, yeah, because I mean it acts like any other animal pack, really. If you take down the alpha, the followers will follow. So like if you win over the alpha or take down the alpha and become the new alpha or anything like that, it'll win them over, and then that way you get them on your side. So it's just by taking out one stronger person or getting one person to join you, and then the rest of them will follow shortly after.
Exactly. And finally, I wanted to say this. When you look at Onizuka, I don't know if you've researched this. How old do you think he is?
Like, just by his looks alone?
Yeah. I know it's anime, but like, would you say he's like in his 30s? What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say like about, I mean, I have researched this, so unfortunately I do know the answer, but looking at him, I'd say he's about like 32, 33.
Okay, well, he's okay, but you do know his actual age,
I do know
right?
his actual age, yeah. Unfortunately, I did come across that in my actual research.
I'll get. 22 years old is not that far off from high school. It's not like a decade above, like 20. That's older than what I am. You know, I'm 24. He's 22. He's very close in age to these students.
And I mean, like, he's already 22. He's already done like all these, like he was doing all this reckless stuff in his youth. He's already leading a group of students at 22. I mean, I'm only 23, and still, like, what have I been doing? But I mean, I get that it's like, I mean, if anime has taught me anything, it's that age is irrelevant, and don't take that the wrong way at all. But, like, you can look at some characters, they're way older than you think. You can look at some characters, they're way younger than you think, which seems to be the main problem here. But it's also kind of a, like, anime doesn't really work in the sense of, like, time has to pass in order for them to get these skills. So, like, if you graduate...
Totally.
So, like, you graduate a year later, and then you're, like, a hired killer or a teacher or whatever occupation they have.
Hokage.
Or what? Or Hokage?
Hokage.
I mean, yeah, but luckily Naruto just had to wait for training on that. He didn't have to wait to, like, become older.
No, exactly. the point I wanted to make was that Onizuka being 22 years old, I feel like it's gonna make him a very relatable to his students in the sense that like, oh, I'm a cool kid. I did some reckless things in my youth, and I'm not that much older than you guys. I'm still technically in your generation because 14, 22 years old. That's like a decade. Like that's not. That's 8 years apart. That's not that much. So I really think that I'm curious to see how, like, obviously I've watched this, but like before watching this anime, I was curious to see how his upbringing and his youth, which is like two different things. Like upbringing is like as you get older, but youth is like you're still like young, is going to affect the way the students perceive him and the way he develops bonds with his students, because this is an anime that's very relational with the way he develops bonds with his students. His students either really appreciate him or really hate him, and then like maybe he wins them over, maybe he doesn't win them over, and like it's through the adversity and through the challenges that he goes through that you see his growth and you see him fail and succeed. I'm really excited. Are you actually planning on watching this?
I'm very curious about it. Yeah. So I mean, I can throw it on my anime pile, but I mean, you know how big that thing's already getting.
How big is your anime pile?
There's some pretty lengthy animes that are in there. I mean, there's more than a few in there right now. So
at least 10.
Probably around the area of like 14, 15 at this current moment.
Make that 16. No, okay. So, that is all I have on Great Teacher Onizuka. Hotshot, before you get into your pick, your final thoughts on what I've described and everything. Any criticisms? I'm really curious to see your thoughts on this.
I mean, it's an older anime. From what I researched, like it's an anime from the 90s, so it's hard for me to be very, very critical about it. And it's hard for me to say that, like, Assassination Classroom did it first, because very clearly it did not. This one came out first.
Yeah, no. When you were talking about Assassination Classroom, I really wanted to be like, well, GTO did it first, bro.
Yeah. Which, I mean, and I totally understand that, but at the same time, the parallels between the two of them are very similar, and Assassination Classroom is the one that I've watched first, so from my perspective, it is the one that I see more of. But I mean, if I hadn't watched it first and watched this one, or even since I had watched Assassination first, I am still very curious about this, especially the tricks and the pranks and everything that they try to pull. So I am curious to check this one out. So
but why were you saying?
So it's number 16 on my pile.
But why were you saying you can't be as hard on it because it's from the 90s? I'm actually curious.
Because it's from the 90s. I mean, that was just the era of everything is going cheesy, like, and it's kind of hard for me to like
but
say.
You love cheesy.
Do what? Yeah, I know. I do love cheesy. That's why it's hard for me to be critical, because I can't be non-biased on it.
True. Okay. I see what you mean.
Stuff from the 90s is like my go-to in a lot of situations.
All right, then. Well, I'm excited to see how you feel about this anime. And on that note, I mean, Hotshot, I think we've talked enough about the Great Teacher Onizuka. What is your first pick?
So as I tease...
Your only pick. Sorry, your first pick's your
What
only
is my
pick.
first pick? Yeah, see, that's how often we've been doing list choices here.
Yeah, I know, right? It's good to switch it up, though. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, and I am too. All right, so my choice... to some, it is reserved as a good anime, and to a lot more, it's reserved as a bad anime. I don't even know why myself, but I really, really enjoy it. And take this for what you will, it is an anime that I watched all the way through, and it's an anime I binged. So, if you hate me for it, hate me for it. But the one I'm picking is Little Witch Academia.
Yes.
Clap, 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 clap. Did you enjoy what you've seen of this?
So, preface here, I watched the first episode.
Right.
And I only watched the first episode, but before we get into that, I mean, I'll let you, this is your baby, Hotshot. I mean, like, intro this.
So, if you guys have watched Harry Potter, you've seen Little Witch Academia.
Oh my god, why would you? I'm like, intro this. Yeah, it's Harry Potter. Like, screw off. Like, no, like, come on. Like, it's not Harry Potter.
It's not Harry Potter. There are some very, very distinct differences. However,
Thank you so much for saying that sentence you just said.
However, I'm gonna delete that sound clip so you don't have it anymore.
It's gonna screw me in editing too. Whatever. Go ahead.
Anyway, it is not Harry Potter. It does have parables to Harry Potter though, such as, I mean, basically it's witches going to school, so you can't really deny that that does have Harry Potter-esque themes to it. However, the way that they teach the classes, the way that they actually go about their dorms and everything else, that is very different. So it starts off with our main character, and I completely forgot her last name, but her first name is Akko, so that one I do remember. All she wanted... So actually the opening scene, now that I think about it, starts with her watching a magic show, and all that she wants in life is to perform magic. So she wants to perform magic. She wants to be the greatest showman.
I felt like she wanted to be the best witch. That's what I understood.
She wanted to be the best witch possible, but she also wants to use her magic to make people smile like her hero that she sees on stage in the opening scene. So she goes through all this rigorous training. She tries learning spells. She tries riding a broom. She does every single magical thing that she can think of. And it really doesn't really look all that great for her. But that doesn't stop her because this character is so determined that she still goes out and gets into a witch's school in order to actually learn how to be a good witch. But the problem is, whereas a common ability that witches have is flying a broom, and she cannot do this. And this is episode 1, so I'm not spoiling anything here. This is like in the first 10 minutes. But she cannot fly a broom, so she actually does not have a way to access the school until she runs into another friend of hers. So it's just like this, this constant, like, basically normal witches can do this, but you can't kind of thing, and Akko coming up with a way to, like, rectify it, like, put her own personal spin on it. And that's honestly why she's one of my favorite characters, period, frankly. And sorry I'm stumbling more than often, guys. I'm actually sick right now, so talking at a long-winded conversation isn't exactly my strong suit.
All good, bro. I was gonna say this. Does she have any powers in the first episode?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, like, she can do nothing. She is basically a muggle from Harry Potter. So
Okay. So I have so many thoughts. Okay, first of all, how the hell did she get accepted? How did she get accepted into the school if she has no power? I mean, obviously this is gonna be a spoiler, but like, that made no sense to me.
My memory on that is actually kind of foggy because it is one that I watched a while ago. But with her getting accepted, I'm not sure how that actually played out. But she did, and I took it for what it's worth.
Dude, I was so confused at that. Secondly, this is, I mean, as much as you're saying it's a lot like Harry Potter, I think it's a lot like My Hero Academia.
No, yeah, it's a combination of both. I won't deny that.
I mean, Izuku in the first episode has no powers, gets powers. I feel like she has to get powers, right? And she has a hero. That's my thought. I think she's gonna get powers. That's my.
I did that to watch the waveform.
I think she is gonna get powers through the anime, as the same way as Deku grows throughout My Hero Academia. There's no second season to Little Witch, right?
No, it's just the first season, or it's just the initial show, and then the way that it ends is. I'm not going to spoil it, obviously, but the way it ends is how it ends.
Okay, so it ends when it ends. Okay, makes sense. So yeah, I enjoyed the mystical side of it. That chicken with the tail of a serpent who can fly and breathe you into stone. That was pretty cool. Not gonna deny that.
There's a lot of creatures like that, especially like just that are just walking around the school like haphazardly. And as you get into as you actually get into the classes and actually learn about the magic and the culture and everything like that, there's specific rules. And in a way, Akko is a lot like the teacher from your pick. because a lot of the way that she solves problems are very, very unorthodox, and the staff makes her realize this. Like, they just come after her for, like, how she's doing what she's doing.
Yeah, and one thing I appreciate about Akko is how upbeat and how energetic and happy and smiley she is. I mean, we're in that scene where she's trying to get to the school, and she's like, "Where's the bus stop?" And like all the three witches are like, "Oh, you're so dumb. Like you gotta like fly, blah blah blah. And if you're gonna be late, you're not gonna get accepted." Like basically like pound on her a little bit, like verbally, where like they look we're superior. Like, what are you doing here? How did you even get here? But she doesn't let that bring her down. I did appreciate that side of her, but I do feel like that like main character, upbeat, like happy, I'm gonna get through this. I can do this, has been done so many times. It's like it's beating up a dead horse to me. So I don't know. Would you agree with that? What are your thoughts on that?
I will say that it's been done a million times, and it is beating a dead horse. However, I still have a soft spot for that kind of character, so they always find a way to work their way into my heart. So it's
how does Akko work her way to your heart with this overdone character? Yeah.
I mean, with her, like with the connections that she builds later on in the series, I won't say with who, other than like Lotte, which is the first friend that you see her with. Like, Lotte and Susie, other than those two, I won't say any of her other friendships. But, like, when she does build them, she builds them in such a way that they're, like, obviously lifelong lifelong bonds. And it's just that kind of build. Like, she doesn't always just rely on herself. She actually is one of those characters that say, I'm happy all the time, but there is times where she actually does come crashing down, needs her friends' help. She's stubborn at first, but then just opens up and accepts their help and stuff like that. So she realizes that she is still human and not everything can be solved with a smile. But that's exactly what her dream is using her magic to make others smile, like to bring enjoyment and happiness to others. That is her dream. So for her to be a character like that, it just makes complete sense to me.
I mean, the way the anime is set, I feel like this kind of character is going to be one that's going to perform well. I do feel like adversity is obviously a must in this kind of storyline, but at the same time, I wonder how much of this adversity and challenge is she going to face on her own? Because to me, at the end of the first episode, when it's all three of them in the same room, that establishes that this is a trio. This is the group of friends. We're gonna graduate together. We're gonna perform. We're gonna go to class together, and we're gonna have each other's backs. Like, that's what it felt like. So I wonder how much of it's gonna be a group effort versus an individual effort.
I won't say who's in it. But I will say towards the end, it is a massive group effort.
Okay. So, I mean, I enjoy some good old teamwork, but at the same time, I don't want it to be like handed on a platter. I don't want like Atsuko to be like, "Oh, this is so hard, help me!" Like, I swear, if Atsuko pulls a Sakura on me, bro.
No,
none of that.
Trust me, she is not gonna pull Sakura. That's all I can say. Like, there are some unique skills that like only certain characters in the show have, like, to themselves. But Akko is never going to be one of those I'm completely useless characters. Like, she's never going to try only to not do anything, is basically what I'm saying.
If you had to compare it to any other anime character you've ever watched, who would it be and why? Who is she similar to?
That's a long list, dude. I mean, I may not have seen a lot of animes, but I've seen a few, so that's a long list of characters.
No, but like, who is she like? Any character.
I am actually gonna have to say Black Star on this, but here's why. Before you,
I love how you're like, okay. I'm being serious right now. Okay, you're being serious.
I am being serious. I am actually picking Black Star, and here's why. Initially, Black Star, doesn't understand the concept of being a ninja, as like you see him going in and just charging through. By the way, I'm here to kill you. Like, no, that's not what a ninja does. And with Akko, with her, like, trying to use magic in a different way, or, like, a way that she sees fit, and only to learn that there's rules, regulations, and stuff like that to using magic, they both kind of have that same aspect of, why can't I do it my way? But the difference between the two of them is where Black Star, when he gets frustrated, he goes off on his own, and then comes back. Akko, when she gets frustrated, like, she sulks for a little bit, but then she will come to her friends and she'll grow from the experience. I mean, Black Star does too, but it just takes longer. So it's just kind of a constant. She is a Black Star as character, like always high energy, always energetic, always believing that she can be number one if she tries hard enough. But she's also human, for lack of a better term. Black Star, on the other hand, is just Black Star. Like, you either love him or you hate him.
Is she cocky about it like Black Star?
No. Like,
that's gonna make her so much more likable.
She's never gonna be like, I am the best, and I am the greatest, and I am the ultra. Like, no, she's never gonna do that. Like, she'll be excited when she actually succeeds in something, but she's never gonna be like, I'm better than everyone else. Like, there is a rivalry that she has with someone, and the more she sees her rival, she does get more frustrated with, like, her growth. So she's kind of like a combination of Sasuke and Black Star, but overall, she does still trump both of those characters with, like, her happy and her protagonist energy. So, like, she actually does stay on the line of good. She's just frustrated that whereas some people are so talently gifted, whereas she works for everything that she has. And, like, even as much as she works, she's still not at that level. So she's just frustrated with, like, how long it takes. But she's never going to be the I am better than everyone.
Okay, I see. What's the school like? What's the school environment, the teachers, the staff? Without spoiling, what's like going to school like?
Okay, legitimately, with the exception of one teacher,
great teacher Onizuka.
With the exception of one teacher, every single teacher there, with the exception of one teacher and the headmaster, actually, are your crotchety old hag witches. Basically, you picture the stereotypical witch, like wart nose, long nose, pointed hat, that kind of thing. You picture that. That is what your staff is, with the exception of the headmaster, who is actually very, very sweet and kind and patient with her students, and one teacher who takes Akko under her wing. And that...
Wow.
Go ahead.
Wow. No, I'm just okay. Wow. Like, I was sort of expecting it, but I'm just kind of wow. That's my reaction.
Well, that's what it actually is, like old hag witches.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, truth told, I'm actually kind of happy that is, and one teacher straight up just looks like McGonagall. I'm sorry to keep bringing Harry Potter into this, but one teacher just straight up is McGonagall.
Why?
She wears green, she looks exactly like her, she even talks like her, like with being strict on her students and everything else. It is just straight up McGonagall.
All right then, that's something.
So you're gonna have to watch that. But this is...
Do I have to watch it though? No, I'm kidding.
But
go ahead.
This is an anime with, like, there's a bunch of twists, there's a bunch of surprises, there's a bunch of things that aren't gonna go the way you think they're gonna go. So I can't really speak all that much about it, because there's the twists and turns in this one are so many and so vast, even if it is a short series, that some of them, if you pay attention to clues, you can kind of see coming, but the others you really can't. So it's just kind of but I will say this, every single character in this show is important. There's not a side character except for, like, those who are obviously meant to be side characters, but all the ones that are actually getting, like, a fair amount of screen time, all those characters are important.
Huh. Well, I mean, the way you describe it, I will say, going into this podcast, I was like, I might watch it, I might not watch it. I'm more curious after discussing this with you. There's definitely, like, I felt like this bone had a little bit of meat to it, but the more you're talking about it, the more I'm noticing that there's a lot more meat on this bone to chew.
Like, yeah, you only pulled it up part way, and now you're pulling it up like, there's a T-bone steak on this thing.
Yeah, exactly, a T-bone steak, and I'm a fan of that. Honestly, like, the thing with this podcast, we can't go too deep into it without spoiling. I've honestly had everything I need to know. I feel like I know. Is there anything else you wanted to point out that you wanted, like, I should really know, or something that just to appetize me even more, like anything?
With this, okay, so the only thing that I have for you is, like, a little bit of a word from the wise. This is not my favorite anime of all time, but it is up there. Like, I've seen better anime, but I've seen much, much, much worse. It is one that has worked its way into my heart. It is one that has personally made me binge it and actually finish it. So take that for what you will. Someone who actually doesn't sit down in front of TV all that much just to watch something has sat down and watched this within like maybe a week. So that's really all I'm gonna say. It really comes down to personal taste, but for my personal taste, it is one of the better ones that I've seen.
All right then. Well, you know what? I'm gonna give episode 2 a try, and we'll see how far along I get it. And honestly, if I do watch the whole thing, we'll do a full podcast.
Yeah. So I mean, we both watch each other's respective animes sometime later on down the road this year, and then we'll probably do a revise of this where we actually go into spoilers and talk more.
You will. Okay. Do you want to? Okay. Do you want to make a deal? I will watch all of Little Witch Academia if you watch GTO.
How many episodes are there in GTO?
43.
Mine's a little bit shorter than yours, buddy.
Okay. Well, I can watch another series if you want. I'm just saying.
Okay, but that's why I'm giving myself that window later on down the road of this year. That's why I'm giving myself.
Will you watch Great Teacher? Wait. Will you watch Great Teacher Onizuka before the end of 2019?
That I will do, because that gives me a year window. I can work with a year.
Are you sure you can do it?
I'm sure I can do it.
All right, I will watch my. Okay, this is the thing, Hotshot. You talk so much about My Little Pony that every time I think it's called My Little Witch Academia. This is your fault.
My Little Pony Academia. You learn to be the best Pegasus that you can be.
Stop it.
My Little Pony, My Little Pony.
Okay, we're gonna get a copyright strike too.
I mean, is it though if I'm singing it?
Yeah, it's still the notes and the melody. You don't own those notes and melodies, bro.
My little pony, my little pony.
Okay, so
is that better?
I don't know what's better and worse at this point, Hotshot. All right, I had one more question to ask you, not specifically about this, but then we'll close it out. How much anime have you watched in 2018 because of this podcast? Like how many series? Ballpark in 2018. Hotshot watched.
Ballpark somewhere between like 7 and 10.
Really?
Somewhere between there, yeah.
Okay, so I think this year, 2019 anime podcasters, we're gonna do we'll still do list-based podcasts, but we'll definitely do more like anime, like the entire podcast. We just talk about the specific anime.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I really do want to get into like actual discussion on anime as opposed to like just picking like which top fighters would you want to see like head to head with each other. Like I love those podcasts, but at the same time, if I'm talking about a show, I actually want to talk about a show.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very fair point, and I completely agree.
All right, so
we've done this. We have actually done this type of podcast before with Zankyuno no Terror.
Yeah, we did do that. I mean,
that was fun.
I mean, on the channel or with me?
Sorry, what? You cut out.
With the with just like anime podcasters or with me?
With anime podcasters.
Okay.
Well, and you, yeah.
Because I mean, like,
but
yeah,
anyways,
you guys have done like full on talks about anime before, but I've only done like maybe 2.
No, exactly. I completely understand. So, Hotshot, any final thoughts, or do we get into plugging our stuff?
I think we can flit into plugging our stuff. So, if you want to go ahead first, Jaden.
All right. GiantMusic.com is the place to be. Hire me for your audio services. And you know what? Before that, go on Twitter, type in GoProkyo, and go follow GoProkyo. Do you know why, Hotshot? Because GoProkyo does all the artwork for anime podcasters, and it's killer artwork. He's available for commission, so go send him a DM, GoProkyo. He's available for freelance work. He does amazing animation and artwork, and he has very affordable rates, so go check out GoProkyo. And then, so for myself, you can subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, youtube.com/GiantMusic. We're on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play. All the links are going to be in the description. And if you want to hire me for audio projects, you can go to GiantMusic.com. And pledge to my Patreon, patreon.com/GiantMusic. Go ahead, Hotshot.
All right. Yeah, I am still here. That's not definitely silence.
No, don't worry. I'll probably just cut it out.
Okay, so you guys can go ahead and find me here, of course. I never leave. He doesn't let me. And so find me here on Anime Podcasters on Jaian Music. You can also find me on Twitter at Costin Ginger. And if everything goes according to plan this year, which 2019 should be the year of the ginger, because there should be a lot of ginger stuff that I'm going to be doing for you guys. I'm hoping to actually get Hotshot Ginger up off the ground as the own YouTube channel, as well as making a few appearances with some other of my friends that are coming on down the way. So I should be bouncing all over the place, so just keep your eye out.
I mean, if I get a year with a Hotshot video, it's gonna be a good year.
Okay, 1 video for Jaden. That's all I'm doing.
Good. Is Kyo there? Maybe he wants to say something. I don't know, just for the fun of it.
Okay, if you're in the background, Kyo, you can say something if you want. Well said.
Well said, Kyo. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Anime Podcast Stories. We will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.